Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and you're watching the Raiders Report. My goal today is after you get done watching this show, I want you to understand that my goal is to get a deal done with Josh Jacobs that makes sense, not only for Jacobs and his team, but also makes the Raiders happy. And if you have that exact same mindset, if you want a deal that is good not just for Jacobs, but also the Las Vegas Raiders, I want you to click that like button right now. I get it. There's been a lot of high school drama. There's been a lot of petty tweets out there. But you know what's the easiest way to just shut up all of that stuff? Signing your star running back, winning some freaking football games. And I'm hoping by the end of today's video, you're like, all right, Mitch, I like this contract a lot. All right, let's talk about everything going on around Jacobs and the entire contract situation. So there was a report that came out earlier in the week from Josina Anderson that the Raiders are open to restarting talks with their star running back, Josh Jacobs. Jacobs and his team have continuously said that they're not going to be signing the franchise tag, which is a guaranteed $10.1 million this upcoming season. Also, the day before training camp started, and this is for the veterans, back on July 24th, Jacobs left Las Vegas on a flight, and he said that he doesn't plan to return anytime soon. More context to the whole Jacobs details in terms of contracts. Jacobs and his team have turned down at least 3 offers from the Raiders this offseason. I know for a fact that the very first offer that they turned down, you got to go all the way back to July 8th. Then it was reported that another deal has been turned down by the Raiders, or by Jacobs, somewhere around $12 million. And I know there's going to be people out there like, Mitch, but Jacobs' team said this isn't true. LaShawn McCoy said this isn't true. I'm just going to say this just point blank, and I'm going to look at all of y'all and say it. I get what Jacobs is saying. LaShawn McCoy, though, is not a notable, and nothing notable anymore, right? But when Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, Mike Garofolo, Albert Breer, I mean, all these guys confirm reports that the Raiders offer him the deal, and Jacobs turned it down, I'm going to believe those NFL insiders because they have absolutely nothing to lie about. So I get it. The reason why that the deal continuously gets turned down is because Jacobs is looking for security in his deal. That's really the only thing that he keeps bringing up. What is security? Guaranteed dollars, and he wants a longer-term deal. The problem is I can give you more guarantees. I can't give you a long-term deal. Why? Because Jacobs can only sign a 1-year deal with the Las Vegas Raiders, and he can only sign a 1-year deal with any team at this point because the deadline for that multi-year extension was on July 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The reason why we made that deal, or the reason why we made that date such a big deal, was because of that multi-year extension. So if Jacobs were to sign the tag, he would make the 4th most money at the running back position this year in terms of salary cap, okay? That's important. In terms of salary cap, Derrick Henry will make more against the cap. Nick Chubb will make more against the cap. Saquon Barkley will make more against the cap. But Jacobs, if he signed the franchise tag, would make the 4th most money against the cap this season. I know there's a lot of different people that have their opinions on Jacobs. I have my opinion on Josh. I think he's a hell of a running back, and I get that he's trying to get paid. And sometimes money can cloud your vision a little bit. Do you think that Josh Jacobs, right now, wants to be a member of the Las Vegas Raiders? Type yes or no. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so you might as well scroll on down and answer today's pinned comment, yes or no. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. My answer to this is yes. I do believe that Jacobs wants to be a Raider, but I only want Jacobs if he's motivated. And some of you are like, well, Mitch, what the hell do you mean by that? I mean this. I want Jacobs on this Raiders team running the football the way that he did last year. What I don't want is for him to sign the franchise tag, play at $10.1 million, and just kind of sit back and put his feet up, right? Like, that's not what I want. I would rather give him a few extra dollars in incentives, which I'll show you those incentives here in a little bit. Get a contract with some of those extra incentives. That way I get that motivated Jacobs that can be that incredible running back that can really separate us from being a good offense to a great offense to potentially being one of the best offenses in the National Football League. So coming up here on the Raiders Report, I got a win-win contract for Jacobs and the Silver and Black. If you want more Raiders analysis, more free Raiders videos, and a show that tries to bring you that Oakland tailgate feel, man, every single day, but especially on Fridays. We got you covered here. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. That way you never miss any videos. So here's how I'm going to do my Josh Jacobs contract offer. And remember, I get to what the running back market is, and I have made this analogy before. The running back market right now in the National Football League is like the housing market, where it's unfortunate, but that's just the way that it is. I wish I could have a house at 2, 3, 4%. Unfortunately, it's 7%. And unfortunately for Josh, it's 7% right now. So he's just got to deal with it. But that's sometimes what life is. You get thrown curveballs, can you hit them? So for my Jacobs contract idea that I'm trying to do right now, I am going to mirror the Saquon Barkley deal. That's what NFL teams do. It's what general managers do. And if you're a good agent, you should do the exact same thing. For those that do not know what the New York Giants gave Barkley recently, it was signed a one-year deal, which was worth $10.1 million, so the franchise tag, with $2 million in signing bonus. So essentially, Barkley this upcoming season is going to make $12.1 million guaranteed. If I'm the Raiders and I'm sitting here with Jacobs right now, I go, this is what Barkley got. Guess what you're going to get? The exact same thing. I will give you $10.1 million, franchise tag. You want a little bit more of the guarantees, cool. I'll give you $2 million in guarantees at $12.1 million. So just to start off the bat, you're making $12.1 million guaranteed this upcoming season. Cool. Well, then guess what I'm also going to do? Because I said I wanted the motivated Jacobs. And if the Raiders are going to give a running back coming off a season where they went 6-11 this type of money, you want somebody that's motivated. And after the entire offseason that we just went through with Jacobs, even more reason. I want a running back that I know I'm not going to get a villain. I'm going to get a superhero because that's why you're going to be getting this incentive-based deal. The other reason why I'm doing it is because I'm a big believer that actions speak louder than words. I'm a big believer that as a man, I say certain things, and I want you guys to believe those things that I say. So I'm going to look at Josh Jacobs right now, and I'm going to say, are you a man of your word? Because earlier in the offseason, you said that you'd be willing to play on the franchise tag if the Raiders built around you. And you're allowed to say, okay, I don't feel like the Raiders bet around me, so now I want an extra deal. Cool. Well, you also said this, bet on yourself. Well, guess what? I'm going to give you a contract with incentives that will say how much you're willing to bet on yourself. Because if you're a man of your word and you said bet on yourself on an Instagram story a few weeks ago, then I think that you're really going to like this deal that I have in store for you. Speaking of deals, I got a hell of a sale going on right now. If you want brand new Raiders gear, whether it's back to school, getting ready for the Raiders upcoming season, we have male t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have women's stuff, we have youth. I mean, we got everything. Shorts, t-shirts, long sleeve. There's hats. If you need new Raiders gear, we have hundreds of items. If I showed you guys everything that I had on sale, I'm going to be real with y'all, that would be the entire show. So go to chatsports.com/Raiders sale right now. Down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. If you miss it, hey, it's on you. So here we're going to look at Saquon Barkley's incentive-based deal, and then I'll show you the incentive-based deal that I'm going to offer Jacobs. So this upcoming season, Barkley can make $909K in incentives if he does these three things. He'll make $303,000 if he has 1,350 rushing yards, plus the Giants make the playoffs. If Barkley has 65 catches and the Giants make the playoffs, there's another $303K. And then 11 total touchdowns, plus the Giants make the playoffs. That's $303K. The reason why I love what the New York Giants did here is they're saying, okay, I get that you can put up stats and you can put up numbers, but at the end of the day, in today's running back market, the only way I'm going to pay a running back when I'm paying you is if we make the playoffs. So I'm going to say, Jacobs, this is what they gave Barkley. Here's your opportunity to bet on yourself. Here's your opportunity to make some extra money. I'm going to double everything. I am going to double every single offer that the Giants gave Saquon Barkley, and I'm even going to make it easier for you to hit those numbers. So what I did here is the 1,185 rushing yards. That is the average yards that Jacobs has had throughout the first 4 years of his career. So he has averaged 1,185 rushing yards, plus Raiders got to make the playoffs. You do that, you get an extra $606K. 40 catches plus the playoffs, extra $606K. 6K. The 40 catches is the average. 10 total touchdowns is the amount of touchdowns he has averaged his first 4 years, plus the playoffs. You can make almost $2 million extra in incentives if we hit all these numbers and we make our playoffs. Because, yet again, and I want you to say it with me, because this is the problem that people who want to pay Josh Jacobs the amount of money. Nobody disputes that Jacobs doesn't deserve the money. If he was on a different team, he'd get paid. But what you got to look at is not just the person. You got to look at the team. And the team says that we were 6-11 last season, and to pay a running back a multi-year contract extension, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So in today's running back market, you pay a running back when you believe that they can make the playoffs. Cool. I want a motivated Jacobs buying into what we're selling, and if you add all of that together, I guarantee you this, McDaniels and Ziegler would be more than happy to pay you that amount of money if the Raiders make the playoffs. The next thing that I'm going to put in Jacobs' contract is a no franchise tag clause in 2024. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it sounds like Josh obviously doesn't like the franchise tag. And it sounds like he wants more security, which, okay, we can play this game right now. So essentially what I would tell Jacobs is this. We will give you the non-franchise tag clause. It's very similar like the no-trade clause that you can do, and it's a new rule that the CBA implemented for franchise tag players that essentially don't want to be tagged in back-to-back years. So, okay, we'll add that no-franchise tag clause, which means the Raiders can't franchise tag you next year, which if you're Jacobs, you got to take a risk because you got to test the open market. Would you make more money on the franchise tag next season, or would you make more money on a multi-year deal if another team decides to sign you? I don't have the answer to that. However, the Raiders won't be able to tag him, which based off of my contract that I gave him, so the $12.1 million, that is $14.5 million at minimum in 2024. The reason why it's a little bit more is because at $12.1 million, which is what Jacobs would make this year based off my contract projection, then you add 20% to that, it's $14.5 million. Do you think Jacobs is going to make more than $14.5 million in 2024? I don't have the answer to that. However, he's going to be the one that signs the contract. And then my final deal here is this. You got to be honest with him. I will come up here and I will say that I am a big believer that Jacobs' team 100% dropped the ball in the negotiation process. I do. I think that they butchered it. It's really unfortunate and because Josh has been taking a lot more of the smoke. However, I do think that the Raiders were, hiding behind certain things a little bit and maybe not being 100% honest with Jacobs. You just got to be honest with them. And the reason why I say that is this. If you're going to make me give you a contract that has a no franchise tag option in 2024, you have to know that you're okay that this is going to be your final season with the Las Vegas Raiders. Because I'm telling you this right now, if Jacobs does end up getting the no franchise tag clause, he's gone. Like the Raiders already showed you that they are not going to give him a contract extension when they were negotiating with only Jacobs. If it gets into a bidding war and the contract extension talks are in there, the Raiders are going to lose. Why? McDaniels and Ziegler are not going to pay running backs, probably what some other teams would be willing to pay Josh Jacobs. So that's something that he needs to realize. So here's my last question here on today's show. Type B for Believe It, baby. Type T for Tuck Rule, Tuck That. 2023 will be Josh Jacobs' final year with the Las Vegas Raiders. It's probably not going to sit well with some people, but I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Believe It, baby, or Tuck Rule, Tuck That. I will say right now that there is a 95% chance that Josh Jacobs isn't on the Raiders in 2024. Whether that's the no franchise tag clause or whatever. This will be the final season for Josh. It will be the final season for him in the silver and black. Why? This is the way that McDaniels and Ziegler continue to do things. And honestly, the way that the running back market continues to go, I don't think it's necessarily that bad of an idea. So here's my offer one more time to Jacobs in case you weren't quite following along with me. So Jacobs gets $12.1 million guaranteed. He's getting that $10.1 million on the franchise tag, essentially, plus the $2 million in the signing bonus, so $12.1 million guaranteed. He's got a chance to make $13.9 million in incentives if essentially he hits his certain numbers and the Raiders make the playoffs. And then I'm also going to throw in that no franchise tag clause for 2024. If Jacobs still says no to this deal, I will confidently sit up here and say, I'm sorry, you don't want to be a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. Bad enough. Before I leave you guys today, I do have 2 video recommendations for you. And if you want more background information on Jacobs, we make videos literally every day. And holy shit, I think in the month of July, I did a video on him every day. I want you to check out this video. It's right here's the thumbnail. Fire your agent. It's down in the description. It's down in the comments of today's show. And then I also want you to check out this one because this is a video that I do think a lot of people missed in the offseason, and I want you to watch it. If you're somebody that believes history repeats itself, and if you're somebody believe like you love fantasy football, you love the numbers like that, watch this video. Because if you're sitting up there saying, Mitch, Jacobs should have gotten a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, I've seen it on the internet. Watch this video. I really think that you might change up your mind. Both those videos, comments, description of today's show. We appreciate everyone that tuned in. At the end of the day, man, I want Jacobs to be on this team. I want to win more football games this upcoming year. But we also have to understand that even the year that Jacobs had last season with over 2,000, he had, 2,053 total yards. He was the best running back in the NFL. The Raiders still went 6-11. It's always about just win, baby. Nobody's above the shield. Obviously, I want him on this team, but I want him there because he's a team captain, and the only way that we're going to ever be able to achieve the ultimate goal, which is building a franchise that fans can be proud of, is to have your captains, your leaders out there on the field. Josh, I know this for a fact. The nation wants you here, man. We just got to get you to sign that dotted line, and hopefully this is the contract that gets it done.